The afternoon sun cast long shadows across Nashville's famous Broadway street as 16-year-old Sophia Martinez positioned herself at her usual corner, just outside the historic Ryman Auditorium. Her guitar case lay open at her feet, scattered, with a few crumpled dollar bills and loose change from the morning's small crowd. Sophia's voice rose above the bustling sounds of Music City, a hauntingly beautiful melody that seemed to weave through the hearts of everyone who passed by. She sang with her eyes closed, pouring her soul into every note, alternating between English and Spanish in a way that made even strangers stop and listen. Mamá, te amo tanto. Mother, I love you so. She sang, her voice carrying the weight of love and worry that only a daughter who's seen her mother struggle could understand. 3 blocks away, Carmen Martinez was finishing her second shift at Nashville General Hospital. Her scrubs were wrinkled, her feet ached, and her heart, literally, was giving her trouble again. The cardiologist had warned her about the irregular rhythms, but Carmen couldn't afford to slow down. Not when Sophia had dreams, and not when... The bills kept coming. Carmen had immigrated from Guadalajara 15 years ago, pregnant and alone, carrying nothing but hope and determination. She'd worked her way through nursing school while raising Sophia, and every sacrifice had been worth it to see her daughter's bright smile and hear her incredible voice. But lately, Carmen's heart condition was worsening, and the medical bills were piling up faster than her salary could cover them. That's why Sophia sang on the streets every day after school, refusing to let her mother carry the burden alone. Richard Williams had been Nashville's most successful music producer for over 2 decades. He'd discovered country superstars, launched pop careers, and built an empire from his keen ear for talent. But today, sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic on Broadway, he felt tired and uninspired. The rain had started suddenly, sending pedestrians scurrying for cover. Richard's black Mercedes was barely crawling when he heard it, a voice so pure, so emotionally raw, that it cut through the sound of rain on his windshield and the honking of impatient drivers. He rolled down his window, straining to hear better. There, under the covered entrance of a closed shop, a young Latina girl was still singing, her guitar protected from the rain, her voice unwavering despite the weather and the scattered audience. Richard's heart stopped. In 30 years of discovering talent, he'd never heard anything like this. The girl wasn't just singing, she was telling a story, painting emotions in the air with her voice, and she was singing in both languages with such natural flow that it felt like poetry. Without thinking, Richard pulled his car to the curb, ignoring the angry honks behind him. He grabbed his umbrella and walked toward the young singer, mesmerized. Sophia opened her eyes as a shadow fell across her, expecting to see another passerby. Instead, she found herself looking at a well-dressed man, in his 50s, holding an umbrella over both of them, tears streaming down his face. "Sweetheart," Richard said softly. "What's your name?" "Sophia." "Sophia Martinez," she replied, suddenly shy under his intense gaze. "Sophia, I'm Richard Williams. I'm a music producer here in Nashville, and I need you to know something. You have the most extraordinary voice I've ever heard." Sophia's eyes widened. She'd heard of Richard Williams. Everyone in Nashville had. His name was on albums in every record store, and his artists regularly performed at the Grand Ole Opry. I just sing to help my mom," Sophia stammered. "She's sick, and the medical bills." Richard's expression softened. "Tell me about your mother." As Sophia shared her story, Richard felt a strange sense of familiarity. When she mentioned that Carmen worked at Nashville General, a memory stirred in his mind. "What did you say your mother's last name was?" "Martinez." "Carmen Martinez. She's a nurse in the cardiac unit." Richard's face went pale. "Carmen Martinez." "With the beautiful smile and the gentle hands? About 5'4", always humming while she works?" Sophia nodded, confused by the specific description. "Sophia," Richard said, his voice thick with emotion. "Your mother saved my mother's life 5 years ago. My mother had a massive heart attack, and Carmen, your Carmen, she stayed with her through the night, held her hand, spoke to her in both English and Spanish. She said your mother was like an angel. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. Her mother had never mentioned this, but that was Carmen, always giving, never seeking recognition. My mother lived for 2 more beautiful years. After that night, thanks to your mom. I always wanted to thank that nurse properly, but I never got her full name. Richard paused, looking at Sophia with wonder. And now, here you are, her daughter, with a gift that could change everything. Meanwhile, at Nashville General Hospital, Dr. Michael Thompson was reviewing Carmen's latest test results with growing concern. Her heart condition was progressing faster than expected, and she needed specialized treatment that her insurance only partially covered. Dr. Thompson had been Carmen's cardiologist for 3 years, but his feelings for her went far beyond professional concern. He'd fallen in love with her strength, her gentleness with patience, and the way she spoke about Sophia with such pride and love. Carmen knocked on his office door, still in her scrubs from the double shift. Dr. Thompson? You wanted to see me about my tests? Please, Carmen, sit down. And call me Michael. We've talked about this. Carmen smiled despite her exhaustion. Dr. Thompson, Michael, had always been kind to her, going above and beyond for all his patients, but especially for her. Carmen, I'm going to be direct with you. Your heart needs that specialized treatment we discussed. The longer we wait, the more dangerous it becomes. Carmen's shoulders sagged. Michael, you know I can't afford it. Even with payment plans, it's impossible. Sophia is already singing on the streets to help with bills. I can't ask her to sacrifice her education too. Michael leaned forward, his eyes intense. Carmen, there's something I need to tell you. Something I should have said a long time ago. I'm in love with you, Michael said simply. I have been for over a year. I know this complicates things, especially with your medical situation, but I can't pretend anymore. Carmen's eyes widened in shock. Michael, let me finish, please. I want to help with your treatment, not because I feel sorry for you, but because I love you and Sophia. I want to be part of your lives, if you'll have me. Carmen began to cry, from relief, fear, and something that felt like hope blooming in her chest. I care about you too, Michael, more than I should. But I can't let you pay for my treatment. It wouldn't be right. What if it wasn't charity? What if it was family taking care of family? Before Carmen could respond, her phone buzzed with a text from Sophia. Mom, something incredible happened today. Coming home with amazing news. Richard had insisted on driving Sophia home, wanting to meet Carmen and discuss Sophia's future properly. As they pulled up to the modest apartment complex where Sophia and Carmen lived, Sophia's excitement was palpable. Mom's car is here. She must have gotten off early, Sophia said, practically bouncing in her seat. They climbed the stairs to the second-floor apartment, and Sophia burst through the door. Mom, you'll never believe what happened today. Carmen emerged from the kitchen, and Richard nearly gasped. She looked exactly as he remembered, the same kind eyes, the same gentle presence that had comforted his mother in her final days. Carmen, Richard said softly, it's you? Carmen stared at him, recognition dawning slowly. Mr. Williams? Mrs. Eleanor's son? You remember? Of course I remember. She was such a beautiful lady. She talked about you constantly, her successful son in the music business. Sophia looked between them, amazed. You two really know each other? Richard turned to Carmen. Your daughter has the most extraordinary talent I've ever encountered. With your permission, I'd like to arrange for her to audition for some major opportunities. Carmen's maternal instincts kicked in. What kind of opportunities? Sophia is still in school and she's just a child. Mom, Sophia interrupted gently. Remember how you always told me that God puts people in our path for a reason? Maybe this is why. Over the next month, Richard worked carefully with Sophia, helping her develop her repertoire while ensuring she maintained her authentic voice and style. He was impressed not just by her vocal ability, but by her maturity and dedication to her family. The big opportunity came sooner than expected. America's Got Talent was holding special auditions in Nashville, and Richard had connections with the producers. Sophia, this could change everything, Richard explained during one of their practice sessions. But I want you to understand, if You do this, your life will change dramatically. Are you ready for that? Sophia looked at her mother, who was sitting in on the session. Carmen's health had stabilized thanks to Dr. Thompson's care and their blossoming relationship, but Sophia still felt the weight of responsibility. I want to do it, Sophia said firmly, but I want to do it for the right reasons, not just for fame, but to show people that dreams are possible, that families who support each other can overcome anything. Carmen squeezed her daughter's hand. Then we do it together, mija. The America's Got Talent audition was held at the historic Ryman Auditorium, the same building where Sophia had sung on the streets for months. The irony wasn't lost on her as she stood backstage, wearing a simple white dress that Carmen had sewn for the occasion. Richard stood with them in the wings. Remember, Sophia, just sing like you did that first day in the rain. Sing from your heart. When Sophia walked onto the stage carrying her guitar, the judges expected another young hopeful with big dreams. What they got was something entirely different. Hi, I'm Sophia Martinez, I'm 16, and I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. What are you going to sing for us today, Sophia? Asked one of the judges. I'm going to sing a song I wrote for my mother. It's called Corazón de Oro, Heart of Gold. Sophia began to play, and from the first note, the auditorium fell silent. Her voice soared through the space, telling the story of an immigrant mother's love, sacrifice, and strength. She sang in both languages, weaving between English and Spanish so seamlessly that language became irrelevant. Only emotion mattered. She came with nothing but a prayer. Llegó con nada más que fe. Worked her fingers to the bone for me. Para darme todo lo que nunca tuvo. By the time Sophia reached the chorus, there wasn't a dry eye in the auditorium. In the audience, Carmen was sobbing openly, with Michael's arm around her shoulders. Richard watched from the wings, knowing he was witnessing something historic. The song built to a crescendo where Sophia's voice seemed to touch the heavens, and when she finished, the silence lasted for a full 10 seconds before the entire auditorium erupted in thunderous applause. All 4 judges stood, giving her a standing ovation. Through tears, the head judge said, Sophia, in 20 years of doing this show, I have never heard anything like what you just did. You didn't just sing. You transported us. That was absolutely magical. Sophia's America's Got Talent audition video went viral within hours. Corazón de Oro became an instant sensation, with millions of views and downloads. Record labels began calling Richard's office non-stop, but Sophia remained grounded. Even as she advanced through the competition rounds, she continued her regular life. School, family dinners, and yes, occasionally singing on Broadway, though now she drew crowds of hundreds. The media attention brought unexpected revelations. A journalist researching Sophia's background discovered the connection between Carmen and Richard's family, turning it into a beautiful story about how kindness comes full circle. Dr. Michael Thompson, initially worried about the media attention, found himself charmed by Sophia's genuine nature and her obvious love for Carmen. When he and Carmen announced their engagement, Sophia was the first to celebrate, seeing how happy her mother had become. You know, Sophia told Carmen one evening as they prepared dinner, I used to sing on the streets because we needed money. But now I realize I was really singing to find our family. Carmen hugged her daughter tightly. We always had family, mija. We just needed to find the rest of it. Sophia made it to the finals of America's Got Talent. But more importantly, she'd captured America's heart. Her story resonated with immigrant families, working mothers, and anyone who'd ever dreamed of something bigger. Record deals came pouring in, but Richard helped Sophia choose carefully. They selected a label that understood her message and supported her desire to use her platform for good. The night before the America's Got Talent finale, Sophia received an unexpected phone call. Sophia, this is Carrie Underwood. Sophia nearly dropped the phone. Carrie Underwood was one of her heroes, a previous winner of American Idol who'd gone on to become a country music superstar. Ms. Underwood, I can't believe you're calling me. Honey, I've been following your journey, and I'm just amazed by you. I wanted you to know that regardless of what happens tomorrow night, you've already won. You've shown America what real talent with real heart looks like. Thank you so much. That means everything coming from you. Sophia, I have a question for you. How would you feel about being my special guest at the Grand Ole Opry next month? I'd love for you to perform with me." Sophia's scream of joy could probably be heard 3 blocks away. Sophia didn't win America's Got Talent. She came in second place. But as confetti fell around her on stage, she felt nothing but gratitude. The winner was a young magician who'd overcome incredible odds, and Sophia was genuinely happy for him. In her final performance, she'd sung an original song called "Found Family," dedicated to Richard, Michael, and all the people who'd become part of their journey. The performance earned her a standing ovation and cemented her place in America's heart. Backstage, Carmen hugged her daughter tightly. "I'm so proud of you, Mija. Not because of the competition, but because of who you are." Richard approached them, beaming. "Sophia, I've been in this business for 30 years, and I've never seen anyone handle success with such grace. You're going to have an incredible career." "Mr. Williams, Richard, I couldn't have done any of this without you. You saw something in me when I was just a girl singing in the rain." "No, Sophia, you had it all along. I just helped you see it." 3 months later, Sophia stood on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry, the same stage where countless legends had performed. Carmen and Michael, now married in a small ceremony that Sophia had helped plan, sat in the front row. Richard was in the wings, watching his protege with pride. Sophia had signed a record deal that allowed her creative control and the ability to sing in both languages. Her debut album, Corazon y Alma, Heart and Soul, was set to release in the spring. But tonight was special for a different reason. Tonight, Sophia was performing her new song, "The Voice That Found Me," which told the story of that rainy day when Richard had stopped his car and changed her life. As she began to sing, Sophia's voice filled the historic venue with warmth and hope. In the audience, she could see faces of all ages and backgrounds, united by the universal language of music and the power of dreams realized. Sometimes an angel comes in the form of rain. Sometimes a stranger stops to ease your pain. Sometimes the voice you've been looking for has been inside you all along, waiting to soar. The song built to a crescendo, and Sophia's voice soared through the Opry house, carrying with it all the love, struggle, hope, and triumph of her journey. When she finished, the standing ovation lasted for minutes. As Sophia took her bow, she caught sight of Carmen in the audience, tears streaming down her face, mouthing "I love you" over and over. Next to her, Michael beamed with the pride of a father, and in the wings, Richard wiped away his own tears, thinking about how a moment of stopping to really listen had changed so many lives. Sophia Martinez had become a sensation, but more importantly, she'd remained herself. Her bilingual albums topped charts in both the country and Latin music categories. She'd won 2 Grammy Awards and used her platform to support music education in underserved communities. Carmen and Michael had settled into married life beautifully, with Carmen now working part-time and pursuing a master's degree in nursing administration. Her heart condition was well managed, and she'd never been happier. Richard had become like a grandfather to Sophia, and she'd brought new energy and purpose to his career. Together, they'd started a foundation to support young musicians from immigrant families. On a sunny afternoon in Nashville, Sophia found herself back on Broadway, but this time for a very different reason. She was unveiling a small plaque at the corner where she used to sing, dedicated to all the dreamers who sing their hearts out, waiting for someone to really listen. A small crowd had gathered, including local musicians, friends, and family. As Sophia spoke about the importance of never giving up on dreams, a young boy in the crowd, about 10 years old, holding a violin, caught her attention. After the ceremony, Sophia approached him. "Hi there, what's your name?" "Miguel," the boy said shyly. I play violin on weekends to help my grandma." Sophia smiled, remembering herself just 2 years ago. "Miguel, would you like to play something for me?" As the young boy began to play a hauntingly beautiful melody, Sophia felt that familiar flutter of recognition, the same feeling Richard must have had when he first heard her sing. She caught Richard's eye in the crowd and smiled. The circle was beginning again, and there were so many more voices waiting to be discovered, so many more dreams waiting to take flight. Sophia knew that her real purpose wasn't just to sing, but to listen. Really. Listen. And to help other voices find their way from the streets to the stage, from dreams to reality, from singing alone to singing surrounded by family. As Miguel's violin sang out over Broadway, Sophia whispered a prayer of gratitude for that rainy day when someone stopped their car to listen. Because sometimes that's all it takes to change everything. Someone who cares enough to stop, to listen, and to believe in the power of a voice that's been waiting to be heard.